Happy Monday, folks. Mm, what a beautiful Monday it is. But, let's talk about our inflated reality. I thought that was a catchy title. Looking around, we're seeing inflation everywhere. We're seeing inflated wait times. We're seeing, and we're seeing them at restaurants, right? We're seeing them at grocery stores. We're seeing them, the lines everywhere are getting longer. Lines out in California at the port are getting longer. They're going farther and farther out to sea. I saw one that said, "How far can they go before they run out of anchor chain?" Right? The things that we're having to contemplate in the world we live in today are mind blowing to 24 months ago, right? But what does all this inflation mean? Why is this happening? What's going on? And how can we protect ourselves against it? I mean, let's talk about that, right? So we're sitting here, and every time we turn around, it's inflation this and inflation that, and this place is more expensive than that place, and you probably saw it at the grocery store, and you were definitely seeing it at the gas pump, and we're seeing it in the economies all around us. But I had an interesting conversation with just a young man, 19 years old, and he knew why we were having this happen because, and he made the comment and he made the statement, and it's true, that 40% of every dollar that is in circulation today has been printed, manufactured, made in the last 24 months. Okay, so let's take 100 and let's add 40 to it. And you now see how many more dollars that were created. And when you do that, the scarcity, the rarity of that goes down. I want you to look at another example. And I want you to see what has happened with something over time because of scarcity, right? And the reality is that if you look at everywhere else in the nation, besides Houston, Texas, has zoning ordinance. I deal with them a lot. I make sure that I buy the right piece of ground. I get it rezoned the right way. Everybody does the right thing. I get what I need. Everything happens standard, right? But when you look at something like Houston, Texas, and you look at what's happening with Houston, where they don't have a zoning, they don't have a scarcity. You can put whatever you want on this piece of ground right here. They don't have a zoning ordinance. You can put a hotel right next to a tire shop. You can put a tire shop right next to a hotel. You can put a tire shop in the middle of a neighborhood. They don't care, right? But the reality is that Houston has not had the issues with their property prices skyrocketing because they're not a controlled environment. There's more of it right over here. And so without that scarcity, their prices stayed flatter. Now, the 2x4s have cost more, the concrete's cost more, right? The plumbing parts, all that stuff has changed, right? But land in Houston has relatively stayed stable compared to Idaho. And that's because they don't create that scarcity with control. So how is adding dollars control? It's not. It's lack of self-control. So now what y'all did was you added all this money, right? All this extra currency, but it's not money, all this extra currency to the market that has increased our liquidity, but it now takes more of these to go to the store to buy anything. I don't know how it's helping us. Because we're sitting here and we're cycling back against ourselves because now we've created all this money. Where did the stimulus money come from? These checks that the government sent out. The government has no money. Yet we collected record taxes last year. Now, guys, this isn't a political message because everybody on all sides of the aisle and voted for the stimulus. This isn't about that at all. This is about sound money and why we're having the issues that we're having right now with purchasing power. So when you look at what's going on, part of it is scarcity, part of it is lack of planning because in 2009, 10, and 11, we weren't building the houses that we needed to build. And now we had a scarcity. During the downturn, or sorry, during the pandemic, the cerveza virus, we saw in Idaho less than 300 houses on the market in Ada County. No, sorry, 350 some houses on the market, down from 2,000, right? That scarcity led people to pay whatever it was worth. Y'all are doing it right now with the new game thing that your kid wants, or the new Barbie doll that your kid wants, or whatever it is that the it toy is at Christmas. Parents will pay whatever they want. Whatever, just give it to me. People were doing that with houses, and they still are to a large degree. But that is what inflation is. We need the turkey. We need the prime rib. We need the fuel. We need these things, and it's becoming more scarce, and we're paying more for it. But we're also paying with deflated dollars, and we get into a whole different thing on that. But I'm just telling you guys, why are we dealing with this inflation, and what is happening, and how can you protect yourself against it? So we know that what's happening, but it's hard assets that will protect it. It will save that value. Let me give you this example, and I want you to not think in dollars. I want you to take your brain out, rewire it a little bit, and put it back in, and let's have this thought. A 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in the middle of my town in 2015 was selling for $175,000. Today, that price is over $400,000. Okay. But it's still only a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Nothing about the house has changed. It's still in the same neighborhood. Trees have gotten a little bit bigger. Maybe it's been remodeled. Maybe they've added some nice crown moldings or some patio, but it has not changed. It's still fundamentally the same 3-bedroom, 2-bath. What has changed? The demand for it? Yeah. But the price. The price is where everybody gets into this dollar-denominated thing. And if your currency has lost value, your purchasing power has gone down, meaning it takes more of that currency to buy that. So, guys, as we're seeing this stuff post everywhere about inflation, and how do you get out of inflation, and how do you hedge against inflation, the only thing that you can do to hedge against inflation isn't the stock market, because the stock market is inflating based on dollars and is trading beyond PE ratios that are normal and natural. The only way that you're going to be able to find that is in hard assets. So if you're in rentals, good for you. If you're not, you need to get into them. Why? They're overpriced. Well, let's think about that. If you're buying a 4-bedroom house right now and you're paying $500,000 for it, you're buying today's asset with tomorrow's dollars. What do you mean tomorrow's dollars? I'm going to pay you back with what I earn on that asset 10 years down the road. And if you look at what inflation has done in the last 3 years, let's say that it does that for another 3 years and you're paying with inflated dollars. You're going to be getting $2,000 in rent now that's likely to be $3,000 in rent in 3 years if the trend continues, and you're now paying back the same set loan amount with tomorrow's dollars. So, guys, as much as you don't like the thought of inflation, the easiest and best hedge against it is real estate at almost any price, because you're paying in tomorrow's dollars. Now, the caveat is this feels a lot like 2007 all over again for those of us that went through that. The ramp up was hot. Everybody was buy. Look at your numbers. Look at your area. There are not a lot of speculators in this market like there were in 08. Banking regulations have changed. Definitely get with a good realtor. definitely look at it. But guys, understand the only person that's going to protect your asset is you. The government is not here to do that. They never were. They're not trying to be that. And the best way to protect against inflation is through hard assets, real estate, things that continue to be of value. The only thing that changes is the currency. As the currency dumps, as the currency prices go down, you will see you'll get more of said currency for that house. Doesn't mean the house has changed at all. Guys, I hope that helps explain to you what to do in this inflationary market and why this reality is going to be with us for a while. Inflation didn't sneak up on us, and we're starting to see it in the retail pricing, which is the very last phase of it. But it's got to deflate out of all the previous supply chain issues and everything else before it gets to the retail customer. And that's going to be a while. So, guys, I hope that's a motivational Monday, but it's an honest Monday. And it's something that shows you what you can and should be doing with your real estate, with your inflationary dollars prevention in order to be able to keep your money yours.